So for animating our camera, so it won't be like this. It is snap to the place. For animating our camera, you need to learn some stuff in the blueprint. So I think this is the best way to learn some nodes with practical examples, right? So in here, what we need to do whenever we press right mouse button, we should go to the aimed location. The camera should go to the aimed location. And when we release it, it should go to unaimed location, right? So no, how we can animate that? There is something that is called timeline in Unreal Engine. So if you right click and search for timeline, you can add a timeline to your blueprint. And I want to call this timeline aim or whatever you want to call it. It will be okay. Doesn't matter. And in this timeline, if you double click on it, take you to the timeline section in here. And in this timeline section, we can animate float values, boolean values, vector values. We can do all of that. So now let's just show you some stuff in here. First of all, if you want to add a track in here, you can click on this plus track. And the length of our timeline right now, because we want to zoom, I want it to be 0.2 second, okay? And now if we click on this track, it will give us some option. One of them is add flow track, one of them add vector track. Maybe you think that if you use the vector, it will be easier, but I want to show you a better way. Add event track and add color track. We can add whichever we want, but what I want to use for now, I want to show you what this timeline is. So if we click at float track in here, it will create a graph for you and you can change the name to whatever you want. So for example, I want to change the name to aim value. Okay, and now with that, if we compile, save, and again go to event graph, now you can see the aim timeline in here has aim value. The exact track that we create in here, you can see aim value, and now it is in the timeline in event graph. Let's just bring it up a little bit like this so you can focus just on this timeline. You should first learn the timeline. So now again, let's just go to our timeline, and in this graph you can see we have horizontal and vertical, and the horizontal is for the time, so from 0 to 0.2 in here. So now we want to add some keyframe in here to create our track so we can use it with our camera, right? So for adding keyframe, we can right click in here and add the key to our graph. Okay, you can see it will give us a key in here. One way to change the position of that is just selecting it and change the time and value. And another way of changing that is by just grabbing it and put it wherever you want. So for example, in here, I want it to be at time 0. I want it to be at 0. Okay. And let's just add another key. And in this case, I want it at time 0.2. I want it to be 1, okay, like this, and you can see it go off the screen. We can just click in here to fit it to the screen, right? So now with that, you can see we can change the time. Right now it's just 0.2 seconds. We can just change it to 2 seconds, right? Again, if you want to change this value, this keyframe value in here, we can just click on it and change the value or the time. Right now I want to change the time to 2 seconds. So at time 0 it will be 0 and it will linearly go to value 1 after 2 seconds. Okay, now let's just have it and show it in our event graph. It takes 2 seconds to reach the value 1. So now we have a simple track in here that start from 0 and after 2 seconds it reach 1. Okay. Now in here you can see there are some execution pin in here that they are self-explanatory, but I will explain it to you. First of all, the play. If you, for example, let's just use event begin play, the event that will happen once when we play our game, right? and connected to the play, it will play this graph from 0 to 1 in 2 seconds, right? So now for showing you that, let's just use this update execution pin and add a print string in here, print string, and let's just show the aim value by just drag and dropping it from here. It automatically changed the float value to the string, right? So now with that, if we compile and run our game, you can see it start from 0 to 1 in 2 seconds. Again, let's just show it to you again, and you can see everything cool with that. Now, if we wanna play it multiple times, let's just use leftmost button. So leftmost button, okay? In the leftmost button, when we press it, we wanna play. And now let's just compile and run. If we hit leftmost button, it will start from 0 to 1 in 2 seconds. And now let's just use the release button in here for stopping it. So whenever we hit leftmost button, it should start from 0 to 1. And if we hold it for 2 seconds, it will reach to 1. So let's just compile. And if we hold it, it will start from 0 to 1 in 2 seconds. 1. And you can see whenever I click in here, because it's playing, it's executing the play, and the play is at the end, it won't do anything. Now let's just run our game. And now if I hold leftmost button and release it, it stay at 0.2. And again, if I hold leftmost button, it start from 0.2 and it will reach to 1. So it will play from where we stop the play. If we wanted this timeline to start from 0 always, we can connect this press to play from start, right? And again, if we run, you can see whenever we release and again press, it will again start from 0. Again, it will start from 0. It will start from 0 whenever we press leftmost button. And we have reverse as well if we want to play our timeline in reverse, and we can have reverse from the end as well. It's exactly like play from start, but it start from the end. And in here, in set new time, we can tell it to start from time, for example, 1, start from there and play and continue playing, right? So now we have this graph and we can use the value that it will give us to animate our camera. I know it is a little bit confusing for you, maybe if you didn't work with any animations or timeline, but I will explain it more in future when we need it. And please, if you have any question with this, ask it in question section. I will answer it with the video so you can understand it better. Let me wrap up again. We create a timeline, and when we double click on it, we can create some tracks. For example, in here, we create a float track and we add 2 keyframes in here that it will start from 0 at time 0 and it will stop at 1 at time 2. So in 2 seconds, it will start from 0 to 1. And we can use this value in the blueprint class that we want, wherever we want.